Well, hello and good evening to you. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We are live from News Up at Sawekanda, also live on TV Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world of news.com. I am Alfred Ocansey. Coming up tonight, the Electoral Commission of Ghana is standing its grounds to introduce a new CI, that's a constitutional instrument that would allow the use of the Ghana card as the sole document for registering voters, as it bemoans what it says is a porous guarantor system. The Electoral Commission has been giving updates on the ongoing voter registration exercise. We'll give you details and some reactions tonight. Also, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, CHRAJ, has condemned the conduct of the Ghana Police Service in the recent Occupy Jubilee House protest and offers advice on how demonstrations should be handled by the Ghana Police Service. We'll delve into that matter and what Joseph Vital has been talking about. It's very interesting indeed. Stay with us here on Ghana Tonight. Also, advocacy heightens for the cost of dialysis and medication for kidney disease patients to be absorbed under the National Health Insurance Scheme. Is this something that will happen soon? And considering the state in which the National Health Insurance Scheme itself finds in its current state, we'll get into the details of that, especially with these issues where people get in and they still have to pay for medicines in some cases that's said to be captured under the NHIS. It's a very serious issue. So we'll spend some time on here on Ghana Tonight. As always, you are an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and Twitter. Let's get talking. Well, let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, CHRAJ, has criticized the Interior and National Security Ministries for their silence on alleged protester brutality during the Occupy Jubilee House demonstration. The CHRAJ Commissioner, Joseph Vital, tells TV3 such lack of correspondence does not foster public trust and consensus.
Rule of law should be the basis for determining how the police and the citizens relate. There is a need for rapport between they and the citizens who are demonstrating. It is a right of the people. So if they are on the street, don't approach them from the attitude of the colonial mentality. If you don't do what we want, we will beat you. No, that is completely out of the way.
The Electoral Commission is justifying its insistence on the use of the Ghana card as the sole document for voter identification. It follows what the Commission says is the high number of minor registration recorded at its district centers over the last 16 days. Addressing the media, Deputy Commissioner Bosman Asari cautioned against the registration of minors.
The Ghana card shows the age and citizenship of the bearer of the card, making it easier to identify those who are minors and those who are foreigners. The Electoral Commission believes that the guarantor system has outlived its usefulness, and we are convinced that the time is right for a system that every registrant is identified on his or her own merit, rather than another person vouching for the age and nationality of that person.
The Coalition of Civil Society Organizations says they will resort to the court to remove 2 EC commissioners deemed to be politically exposed to preserve the integrity of the election management body if common sense does not prevail. The appointments of Dr. Peter Apiahin and Hajia Salina Tijani, according to them, erodes the principle of fairness associated with the commission. The group also expressed concern about the growing monetization of politics in Ghana.
The appeal is a better way of kind of stepping back rather than forcing the issue into it, going to court, and because sometimes legalization of these kinds of issues doesn't help. I think we have to understand that if the democracy we want to progress, elections have been the cornerstone of Ghana as a model democracy.
The Ministry of Health has summoned management of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital following an announcement of new costs of dialysis at the facility. Public Relations Officer of the Ministry, Isaac Ofer, who made this known, tells TV3 the decision was taken without consulting with the Ministry.
They have not even brought any proposal to the Ministry for consideration and onward forward to Parliament for approval. Even at their management level, that decision had not yet been finalized or concluded. There is the need for an increment in the price of dialysis because of the cost of production. But then, before you increase, then there's the need for a proper procedure to be taken or caution to be taken, like sending the proposal or the proposed price to Parliament for approval as the fees before you are able to charge.
The Trades Union Congress, TUC, says it would seek legal interpretation at the Supreme Court over the restriction of security officers from unionizing. The TUC Secretary General, Dr. Yao Ba, argues that their restriction under the current Labour Act 651 violates their rights.
If you look at the first part of Act 651, the scope of the law limits unionization. For example, immigration officers, prison officers, the police, and so on cannot join or form a union to defend their interests. We think that is unconstitutional.
Well, there's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, advocacy heightens for the cost of dialysis and medications for kidney disease patients to be absorbed under the National Health Insurance Scheme. Now, this is coming up as the conversation about this increasing impact of the cost of dialysis and other medications for persons living with kidney failure continues to dominate conversations here in Ghana because of the earlier announcement of Kolebu Teaching Hospital. There's a development to that, which we'll be telling you tonight. The CEO is going to be joining us in a bit. But my colleague Godwin Asediba sat with 2 kidney disease patients. Let's put it in context so you understand why this is a serious situation that cannot be taken lightly. Take a look.
Yes, at times I feel like I want to die.
A growing crisis is escalating in Ghana, posing a significant threat to healthcare access and human survival. In a quiet embrace of nature's shelter, an orphaned lady sheds tears. At 25, Mercy Mensah is grappling with the constant threat of kidney failure.
If I were having a parent, maybe my parents will try their best, but because of I don't, I feel sad.
This has been Mercy's daily routine for the past year, waiting for a miracle to happen.
I want to do my transplant because they say I should do the transplant. And dialysis, I don't get the money for dialysis. What about the transplant?
Following the high cost of living, she has to cancel her scheduled session due to the increasing medical fees.
When I get money, I go. When I don't get, I stay home.
Deprived of a regular life due to her condition, Mercy survives every day by a glimmer of hope, albeit her future is riddled with uncertainty. She needs $50,000 for a kidney transplant in India. Imagine needing 3 rounds of trips a week just to access this critical treatment. That amounts to over 400 journeys every year, putting an immense strain on patients and their families. And as if that weren't enough, the constant increases in fuel prices for petrol and diesel are sending transport fares skyrocketing, making these trips even more financially crippling.
Normally, they will need a vein. They will need a vein to put the needle in.
The increasing cost of dialysis is causing patients to face financial struggles, making it difficult to maintain their health. Daniel Mensah, not his real name, is facing the same struggle.
It has rendered me zero, ground zero. Always you are begging. The government should come in. If they can put it on the NHIS for us. But because of the cost of living. So right now, even if I have 100 cedis and I spend 20 cedis, now I have to spend 10 cedis.
Well, that's the reality that persons living with kidney diseases are going through, from the young to the old in this country. Now, let me give you an idea of the cost of medications and the type of, and this is just the least cost we're dealing with. Take a look at this. This is what we got from someone who is also battling with the kidney disease in this country. These are the list of medicines. The erythropoietin injections, 174 Ghana cedis. One without the injections, 161 Ghana cedis. Iron injection, you have 41 cedis. Calcium carbonate, 150 cedis. Methadopa, 14 Ghana cedis. Iron injections, 55 Ghana cedis. Metodalpa, 140 cedis. Sodium bicarbonate, 180 cedis. Calcium carbonate, 200 Ghana cedis. This is just the least. This is at the stage of, that's the minor stage of a kidney failure or the kidney disease. This is how much you'll spend. I'm going to give you the total as we go on. But apart from that, take a look at the cost per patient in a week. This is what we got to find out from the patients that we've been talking to, how much they spend every week per the sessions that they have to go for. This is it. What we found out from them per the conversations that we had. That's every period. The medications in total that I listed cost 1,115 Ghana cedis. The dialysis, and we'll break down the 4,560 in a bit. The cost of dialysis every month cost 4,560 cedis. That brings the total for patients at the elementary stage of kidney disease spending 5,675 Ghana cedis every month. Let me give you the details of the dialysis, how we arrived at the 4,560 Ghana cedis total for a month. That information that we got from the kidney, someone who's suffering from a kidney disease. We'll go through the list in a bit and then also give you details of how this was arrived at. Now, let's take a look at this. Over the period, every month, per the breakdown that we have from the persons we've been having conversations with, from 2016 up until now, there's been a number of increases, which would also put together for you. But take a look at this. This is how we tracked it, right from 2016 to date. Consistently, the increase in dialysis costs since 2016. In 2016, it was 190 cedis. Then in 2020, it increased to 230 cedis. Then in 2022, in June, it increased to 280 cedis. Then in that same year, 2022, the dialysis cost was increased to 350 Ghana cedis. Then in this year, 2023, same month of September, it increased to 380 cedis, and there's a proposal to have it increased to 765 cedis, because Kolebo is now telling us that this was just a proposal, but we're also learning that some people actually paid for this 765 cedis, which the hospital is saying it's a proposal. If you put all of that together, at least if we're going with the 380 cedis current figure that people are paying for dialysis, they have to go for 3 sessions every week. Now, we put that in context for you and how much they are spending in a week and also in a month. The 380 cedis. In a week, they're having to pay 1,140 cedis, and in a month, 4,560 cedis. In the midst of all this, this is what Kolebo said in their statement earlier today, that this is a proposal that the hospital is considering, and that this is to inform the general public and our patients, quote, that a price review proposal presented by the renal dialysis unit is yet to receive consideration and approval by management of Kolebu. Any proposed fee will be forwarded to Parliament through the Ministry of Health for approval. It is only after the due parliamentary approval that any revised fees will be implemented. So, the hospital's management appreciates the challenges confronting renal dialysis patients and all of that. That's what they're saying. They talk about an outstanding example in some of the companies that are even helping them. But if this was a proposal, if this statement we're seeing is anything to go by, that it was a proposal, how come that we're hearing that some people paid for this 765 cedis? Dr. Opoku Ware Ampoma is the Chief Executive Officer of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. He's going to be joining us in a bit. Also, Kwabena Mintakando is the ranking member on the Health Committee of Parliament. He's also joining us. Thank you, Takando, for your time here on Ghana Tonight. I'll start off with you. Now, we're hearing from Kolebu through this statement that is 706 from the increase of 380 cedis for the dialysis to 765. That notice we saw is just a proposal which has not been approved yet. Does this answer any questions that you had about this earlier notice that we got from the hospital?
Yeah, I think whatever explanation we are giving now is an afterthought. If you think through it carefully, you realize that after the announcement, the CRO came to justify why they increased. And he never said that at that time, he never said that it was just a proposal. He, enumerated other factors, including the waiver of the tax exemption and the waiver of procurement cover, inflation, among others. But he never said that it was just a proposal at the management level. So you could see that kind of damage control. Be as it may, what we are interested in is that that move was illegal and he must refund anybody who paid that amount of money, that is the 765 Ghana to them. It must be refunded, or they must offer some kind of services to offset the difference between the original 380 Ghana cedis and the 765 Ghana cedis. Now, going forward, the argument the conversation we should start. We should not start the conversation in the middle. We should begin the conversation properly and put it in the proper context. The first thing we should be talking about is access to these dialysis machines in the country. Access. In some regions, we don't have at all, including the Western North region. We don't have at all. We don't even have a single machine. So it is government responsibility to make sure that at least every district hospital has one, at least one. Because you don't think about building new hospitals without retooling the already existing one. You recall during Professor Mills and his assessor John Dramani Mahama's period, they were buying MRIs, scanners, X-ray machines, dialysis machines to distribute across the length and breadth of this country. Then what they are talking about is that, okay, if we don't get to that price, which of course I don't see us getting there because I don't see myself approving 765 Ghana cedis for Kolebu to go and charge, for somebody to pay this anytime he or she visits the dialysis machine, where they will need about 2 or 3 times within 1 week, costing them more than 2,000 Ghana cedis a week, costing them more than 9,000 Ghana cedis in a month. Even as a member of Parliament, I can't afford it. So I don't see myself approving that. But let's look at the challenges that is getting them there. They are saying that it is because of the waiver of the tax exemption. It should be very easy and simple for government to restore that waiver on medical equipment and reagents. It should be very, very simple. In any case, there are numerous taxes that have been taken since 7 years ago. What have they done with this tax? For them to come and tax dialysis patients. It doesn't make sense anyway.
You see, and we're actually even learning that even though the management of Kolebu says this is a proposal, some people have actually reached us privately saying they were charged this 765 cedis. The proposed increase of over 100%. Now, we're also getting information that the health ministry has summoned the CEO of Kolebu on this matter. That's after 4 or 5 days that this matter became public. This is now that the health ministry is stepping in.
Well, these are all afterthoughts and damage control. It's damage control. You should ask the minister. So doesn't he know? I mean, he knows very well that the tax exemption has been waived. He knows. He knows that the procurement cover has been waived. He knows. What has he done about it? That should be the question. That should be his responsibility. He should have avoided it in the first place. As for minister, the least talking about him, the better. He knows. For how long has this problem persisted or existed? He knows. So the insensitivity of the government must be examined to the extent that you are pushing your citizens to early grave. Because you know that if people are not able to afford the first week, the second week, the probability that they will begin dying in the third week is very high. And I've heard people who have said that they know and have seen more than 12 people die because they've been able to do their dialysis for only 2 weeks. I know, and I've said. So whatever government should do to make sure that we have these machines, and these machines are running 24 hours, we must do that. We're talking about healthcare delivery. And the main objective for every public health facility is for profit making. It's to ensure that they deliver quality healthcare. And so the minister must not come and say face. When they announced, what was he? When they announced that they were going to charge 765 until we came out and other people followed, what was he? Why didn't he come in to intervene? Why didn't he call them to order? Until we came in to say that this is illegal and therefore we will not allow them to take the people for granted. So what is left for the minister to do is to make sure that these tax exemptions have been restored. The procurement cover has been restored.
Apart from this continuous increase of the cost of dialysis for these kidney disease patients and this fees, which has been charged on some people, which is yet to be approved by Parliament, there's this other conversation about the cost of medicines as well and the dialysis being at least partly covered under the National Health Insurance Scheme. I know this is a conversation that for you, as a Health Committee of Parliament, you have had before. So what's become of it?
Okay, that is another conversation. But you see, as I said, if you don't begin with the assets and even do the announcement, you have done the announcements for nothing. It doesn't make sense. It's meaningless. You say, okay, NHIS has absorbed the cost. You go to the entire region, Western North, there is no machine there. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. Okay, now, so we'll begin with the accessibility. And the second leg of it is that the already existing national health insurance is in comatose. We are only pretending to have national health insurance scheme. And I'll tell you why. Now, if subscribers of the national health insurance scheme go to the various health facilities, they do what they call co-payment. They give them bills to pay. Sometimes you go, you need paracetamol syrup. They will say there's no paracetamol syrup, and so you have to buy. You know why? Because the health providers are saying that the national health insurance scheme is not giving them realistic tariffs. So they will go and buy the paracetamol syrup, 5 NHIS in the market. And then the scheme will say that we are paying you 3 NHIS. So if I don't give that to the patient, I will record to claim it. So they won't give.
Well, this is an issue that definitely has to get some answers, and especially the people, about 6 people who have reached us that they were made to pay this 765 cities, which Kolebo is saying now that it's a proposal, yet to receive parliamentary approval. But and some people have been made to pay this. Now, this is the statement that they issue, indicating that it was a proposal, just to put it on record, so that if you have had to pay for this 765, go to the Kolebo Teaching Hospital, go and ask questions, because that's what they are saying, that this price review proposal presented by the renal dialysis unit is yet to receive consideration and approval by management or Kolebo Teaching Hospital. So go and take your money if you've been asked to pay this 765 cities at any point if you visited the hospital. That's what right now we're learning, that this is another subject of investigation for the health ministry. And this issue has been in the news for the past 7 days, about a week now. And it's today that the ministry is stepping in to summon the Kolebo Teaching Hospital CEO. Let me put it also that he was supposed to join us. Dr. Opoku-Ware Ampoma was supposed to join us here on Ghana Tonight, but it's not reachable now. But this is what the Ministry of Health is saying about this issue.
We have not even brought any proposal to the ministry for consideration and onward forward to Parliament for approval. And what the Chief Executive is saying is that even at their management level, that is at the Kolebo Teaching Hospital management level, that decision has not yet been finalized or concluded. There is a need for an increment in the price of dialysis because of the cost of production. But then, before you increase, then there's the need for a proper procedure to be taken or caution to be taken, like sending the proposal or the proposed price to Parliament for approval as the fees before you are able to charge. But these have not gotten to us yet. And even if it has gotten to the ministry, it should be before Parliament. And Parliament will have to approve that before it is charged.
That's the Ministry of Health. Now, the head of public affairs of the Ministry of Health there, Dr. Opoku-Ware Ampoma is the Chief Executive Officer of the Kolebo Teaching Hospital. He's joining us on the telephone now. Thank you, Dr. Opoku-Ware, for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First of all, have you received this notice of your summoning by the Health Minister on this matter?
Hello, hello, good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Ampoma.
Yes, we have an ongoing engagement with the Health Minister, so we do meet the Health Minister regularly.
And did you at any point mention to him about this proposed increase in the dialysis cost?
Please come again, because I don't get a question. The thing is that there's a procedure for undertaking any price increases.
Okay.
And so at the institution level, the unit that is providing the service would come up with a proposal for price adjustment based on their input costs, the cost of providing the service. And then this would then go to the head of that department, who would then pass it on to the Director of Medical Affairs, who also scrutinizes this and make sure that it is reasonable. And then it comes to the Chief Executive, who will discuss with the finance central management. And then once that is done, then the proposal was then forwarded to Parliament through the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Finance for approval. And it's only when this has been approved that the institution can then apply those charges. But in this case, what happened was that the proposal was on its way to central management, but had not even got to central management when there was a jumping of the gun and somebody put up a notice prematurely. And so when this was noticed, a directive was issued from the Director of Medical Affairs to the department to ask them to suspend and stop immediately, revert to the old price regime till the new one is approved. So unfortunately, because I think somebody put up notice and it was captured and then put on social media, it went viral. So the impression is that we approved that increase or implemented that increase, and we were now backtracking. But that is not the fact.
But what's the standard operating procedure in the hospital in terms of? Yeah, but I'm coming to a point, because if you say somebody prematurely printed a notice and it read, cost of dialysis has been increased, from 380 to 765 and puts it on the wall, the entrance of the dialysis, the renal unit of Kolebu, that and that was not noticed after 3-4 days of this being there.
And I'm telling you that was when that was seen, or came to the attention of the Director of Medical Affairs. He immediately issued a directive to them to put down take it down and then revert to the old regime. So that is when you are in an institution where you have an institution of not everybody may be conversant of the processes and procedures. Okay, and so this is a unit, okay, in the hospital, and we are doing an internal investigation to find out how that poster was put up there. But then I'm telling you the fact that it had not gotten to the management level yet, so had not been approved. And so as soon as this came to our attention, it was, there was a directive from the Director of Medical Affairs for it to be put out. But we're having this discussion because of obviously it's it's gone to social media and
Dr. Boko, this issue has been out there for the past over 1 week now. We're hearing of Kolebu's response to this matter today. So for the past days gone by, what have you been doing?
See, when something happens, we take an internal, because this is something that we noticed had happened, and we wrote internally, to correct it. What we are now doing is that because it's gotten out there, we have to issue a statement to the public, because it has come to the point that the people were talking about it. So we need to also engage the public, let them know that this is not the case and that this is what happened, and it has been. There's a certain procedure, and we are following through that procedure before any adjustments can be made.
Are you aware that some people have already paid for this 765 CDs, which you say is a proposal?
Yes, and do you know the number of people? Because we dialyze, we have over 400 patients on our list, and I can tell you that just around about 5 people had paid at the time we issued the directive for this thing to be reversed.
And that's where my concern is, that if you have what you're describing as an illegal notice of an increase over a period, and 5 people actually go ahead and pay for it, and it is not approved by management. So whoever was receiving the money, on what authority was the person receiving the money, even for it to be now approved in terms of the collection, for the person to have to pay and go through treatment if it wasn't approved by management?
I don't know where you are going with your line of question, because I've told you what happened. This is an institution, and there's a unit. The unit has got a certain approval. Then the people, because they were the ones who worked on the proposal and submitted it, somebody was under the impression that this has been accepted, and this, which is erroneous, and that has been corrected. And as soon as the notice was, because if you look at the volume of patients that come there every day, and if just 5 people are paid, that should tell you that this was picked up very early and it was stopped. So I don't know
Dr. Baba,
where you are going. Well,
I'll tell you what. Here's where I'm going. I'm going on the perspective of the people who are concerned about this increase, who have been a subject of an illegal payment, and that's it's on that tangent.
Approved, we reverse it immediately, and we are going through the appropriate process and channels to get this implemented.
Okay, so the people who are paid.
Human institution, and people will do. We are not saying that we are 100% perfect, but once it was noticed, steps were taken immediately to address the situation, and this is what we have done.
So the people who are paid, just a minute, the people who are paid, what happens to them? There's 765.
And that's what you need to understand the situation. These are chronic dialysis patients. They come to the unit regularly, week on week. So it is just a question of offsetting what they paid against in the next session. So this is so for us it is as simple as in terms of there's no need to, because these are patients who are using the unit regularly. So that is not a problem at all. Okay. The only thing is that yes, we will get the what's called the panic, or the consternation that this has caused. But we also have to realize that indeed, there will definitely have to be some adjustments in the price because of, I mean, if you even take anything in the price of goods and services generally across board, definitely if you to have the price of goods about 2-3 years ago, the cost of things, and compare it to now, there's definitely been a change. So there will have to be some adjustment, but it has to go through the proper procedure and proper channels, and that is what we are doing.
Okay. Well, thank you for the response. And I know that this is a subject of investigation. We'll wait for the outcome of it here. So thank you for joining us. Dr. Opoku Ware Ampoma is Chief Executive Officer of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, we go straight into the issues of the Electoral Commission and the concerns, the responses that they put to some of the questions that journalists put to them related to the update on the voter registration exercise. They are standing their grounds to introduce a new CI that will allow the use of the Ghana card as a sole document for registering voters. Now, earlier today, the Electoral Commission, as part of its Let Citizens Know sessions, gave updates on the ongoing voter registration exercise, plus their stance on the use of the guarantor system for this process. And they raised concerns about minors being allegedly an attempt to register minors by some political parties at the registration centers. Take a look.
Let me begin by reiterating the Commission's avowed commitment to ensuring that every qualified Ghanaian is registered as a voter to take part in the 2023 district-level elections and the 2024 general elections. The Commission is desirous of registering everyone who is eligible. We reiterate that it is not our intention to disenfranchise anyone. We wish to assure all qualified persons that we have increased the number of kits in our district offices to accommodate the large numbers at the registration centers. The Ghana card shows the age and citizenship of the bearer of the card, making it easier to identify those who are minors and those who are foreigners. The Electoral Commission believes that the guarantor system has outlived its usefulness, and we are convinced that the time is right for a system that every registrant is identified on his or her own merit, rather than another person vouching for the age and nationality of that person. The replacement of the voter ID cards will begin on the 3rd of October in all our district offices. The fee is 10 Ghana cedis, and the payment is through a short code that will be made available to the public very, very soon. We gave you a target of 52% of the 1,350,000 people who qualify. And currently we've done 667,300 or so. Almost 90% of the target we set for ourselves. So what this indicates is that we are going to exceed our target.
Dr. Bosman Asare there, a Deputy Commissioner at the Electoral Commission there. Now, this is just a summary of the figures or statistics as it looks like now per the regional breakdown of the total number of persons who have been registered so far as the Electoral Commission put out today. Take a look. Here's a compilation of it. The Western region, 42,269. That's about 6.3% of the total number of persons registered so far. Western North follows with 22,386. And then also you have Central, 63,228, 9.4%. The Greater Accra region follows the Ashanti region in that order. The Greater Accra region has one of the highest. In fact, 90,099. That's about 13.4% of the total number of persons registered so far. The Volta region, 43,099. And then you have also the Oti region as well, 18,468. Let's go on to the next set of regions as well. And you would also see the Ashanti region also recording some very high numbers. The Eastern region, 69,597. 10.3%. The Ashanti region, 111,593. That's the highest, followed by the Greater Accra region of over 90,000. Bono region, 23,365 persons registered so far. Ahafo region, 17,210. And Bono East, 28,687. And then you have Savannah region, 16,045 persons registered so far. In fact, then you have the Northern region, 52,410, Northeast, 17,692, Upper East, 33,778 persons registered so far, and the Upper West, 23,350. So the national total of persons who have been registered so far during this limited voter registration exercise, 673,276. And that, the Electoral Commission says, is over 80% of the target of the persons they sought to register during this period. Dr. John Osai Kwapong is a Democracy and Development Fellow at the Center for Democratic Development, CDD. He's joining us on Zoom. Kwapong, thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Now, the EC, in explaining these huge numbers of persons who have been registered, they say that they had to increase the number of BVR machines at a number of the centers. That's giving credence to some of the suggestions that you made, is it not, when this whole process started?
Definitely, and good evening. And I think it's also a step in the right direction, because as we've had this conversation a few times, I've always said that whatever you can do to make the process easier for the citizen to enjoy and exercise his or her fundamental rights to vote, it's always a step in the right direction. So I think it's a good thing that the EC is doing by increasing the number of BVR machines, so it facilitates the process of registration.
You would not disagree with others who make the point that by extension, if the EC now concedes that it needs more BVR machines to speed up the process of registration so that a lot more people can be registered, how about considering that proposal of also taking it closer to the people, the accessibility requirement in the law that the EC has to fulfill?
Precisely. That would, I mean, I don't know how many days the EC has left for this limited registration exercise, but that would have also been another step in the right direction, right? By addressing the accessibility issue, if you could expand the centers where citizens could go and register beyond just the district office, that would have been a step in the right direction. And I think that would have even also been the kind of gesture that I think would slowly contribute to the rebuilding of some of that trust that I keep saying has been lost in terms of what people have been saying about the EC. I think it would have been a step in the right direction.
But the EC insists that, for instance, to deal with minors, which they say they accuse the political parties for trying to register minors and foreigners, they are still insisting that the CI, to make the Ghana card the sole document for registration, is the way to go in dealing with this.
You see, and this is where, and the EC has consistently made this point. In the number of times that I've listened to Dr. Serbo, he's always mentioned the fact that part of the insistence on using the Ghana card is to cure this mischief of the parties registering either foreigners or registering minors. And so you need some solution to that. And so if the Ghana card is the way to go to deal with that, then you can see the merit of that argument. But I've also always said that those administrative burdens are not the things that you want to place on the potential voter. The political parties, this thing becomes a numbers game, right? The more you register, the more it sort of seems that it would inure to your advantage. But if the political parties are facilitating this, then they also must bear some responsibility, which is why sometimes you can see why the EC then ends up taking this, strong on yielding stand on some of these things. I think I've mentioned on your show before that back in, I think it was in 2012, a limited registration exercise that the Jimmy Carter Foundation was one of the observers. They made this point very clearly, that the political parties must also take responsibility in ensuring that we have a clean voters register. And therefore, it does not help if they are the ones, facilitating this because they want to register, more voters who ostensibly, may cast a vote for them. Then it also doesn't, help the process. But I have made it very clear that because of some of the challenges that the NIA has faced in ensuring that those who register for the Ghana card are actually able to get their physical card, that I would hope that there would be a backup, in place where some other form of your eligibility to determine your eligibility becomes acceptable. But you also don't want the parties to abuse those alternative mechanisms outside of the Ghana card.
Dr. Jonas Akopong, I thank you so much, as always, for joining us here on Ghana Tonight with your thoughts. Appreciate it. Dr. Jonas Akopong is a Development Democracy Fellow at the Center for Democratic Development, CDD. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, the Commission for Human Rights Administrative Justice condemns the conduct of the Ghana Police Service in the recent Occupy Jubilee House protest and offers advice on how demonstrations should be handled. Tonight, we'll delve into that issue right after this quick break. This is Ghana Tonight. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Nadede, Semijina ha, na Franco television, papa, Amodia Begasuno, and I'm Gusuami do one dance here. Sawasi hotels, offices, schools, apartments, Franco television, Ababawa, Abrantier, Open TV the about them. Your size is bebre, you were 24 inches, you were 32, you were 43, you were 55, and I can see 65 inches. Now Franco Trading Enterprise, a television papa, and a border form, and him here.
Nobody ever thought their way to success. Nobody ever hoped their way to success. Nobody ever wrote goals on a planner to success. They acted. Action is what attracts. It's the action. It's the movement. Every person has a change the world speech inside of them. It's inside of you. Every one of you have a message. Every one of you have a dream. And my hope is that today you'll begin to express that dream better than you ever have, because people need to hear your story. People need to see your vision. And when you learn to communicate, you pass it on to others, and you help so many people make a difference in the world. So let your dream come out and learn how to communicate it with excellence. Thank you very much. My name is John.
The 2023 district level elections will be held on the 19th of December 2023 from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. When you vote assembly and unit committee members into office, you give them the authority to plan, budget and implement decisions on your behalf, because district assemblies and unit committees are responsible for the development of the areas within their jurisdiction. The assembly determines how much to spend on essential services and infrastructure, for example, healthcare facilities, schools, sanitation services, public transportation, the supply of clean water, local economic development and security measures within the locality. There is no discrimination against eligible candidates and voters. We must endeavor to vote for the right candidate irrespective of gender, ethnicity or disability. A vote for the right candidate is a vote for development. All Ghanaian citizens of 18 years and above with valid voter ID cards should turn out in their numbers to vote for their preferred candidate. Political parties are not allowed in district level elections. Do not sell your vote to any political party undercover. Remember, district level elections happens once every 4 years. The time is now. Your vote is your power. Get involved. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Information with support from the Governance for Inclusive Development Program implemented by GIZ and commissioned by the German Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development.
Who wins the Ultimate Energy Personality of the Year at the 7th edition of your prestigious Ghana Energy Awards under the theme Ghana's Energy Transition Framework, Sector Institutions as Building Block for the 2030 to 2040 target. You can nominate yourself or an institution for categories such as CEO of the Year, Energy Investment Impact Award, Energy Signature Award, Endorsement, Validation, Industry Partners, Media Partners, TV3, Ghana Energy Awards, 7 years of redefining excellence.
We are fast in news, best in entertainment. TV3, your #1 station, as part of activities marking our anniversary month, brings you an unforgettable experience this October. Dubbed October to remember. This October, TV3 brings you a wide range of exciting programs to spice up your viewing experience. I love you! Watch out for exciting new series, gripping talk shows, heated political talk shows, riveting drama series, and much more. The TV3 Anniversary Month, giving you an exciting viewing experience with a broad array of exciting content this October, only on TV3. Fast in news, best in entertainment.
The expert at anything was once a beginner.
I seek for unmatched work experience that will prepare me for the real job.
Internship can help you stand out in a competitive job market.
I want to be an intern in one of Ghana's most reputable companies.
In the heart of the corporate world, there's a search for the next top intern.
On this journey, some aspiring interns will get to embark on an unforgettable adventure.
These interns will face a series of real-world challenges and tasks.
For the next top intern on the Top Intern reality show, ambition meets determination. From the tasks to the boardroom, to alliances, and to winning. Who will be the ultimate top intern? Get ready for an epic internship showdown. To be part of this reality show, aspiring participants should have at least a second-class upper and above. Register now at forms.mg.com.gh/topintern. Who sweeps the top prize of an internship at a reputable company, cash prizes, and many more.
Are you the one?
For the top intern we're looking for, be you?
The Top Intern. Today's learners, tomorrow's leaders.
And this is Ghana Tonight. Now, up next, we go straight into the issues that the Commission for Human Rights Administrative Justice CHRAJ has been talking about related to the conduct of the Ghana Police Service during the Occupy Jubilee House protest. And they have some word of advice for the Ghana Police Service and also the Interior Ministry, and some recommendations on what to do to improve on the situation. The Ministry of Interior and also the Inspector General of Police and the National Security must be mindful of Ghana's human rights obligations towards its citizens. The appreciation of this obligation will inform decisions in striking a good balance between all legitimate competing interests. That's according to the Commission for Human Rights Administrative Justice, CHRAJ. And that's the recommendations that they are making. I'm going to put it on the screen right now. These are the summaries, the various points that the CHRAJ is making. to ensure that there is some level of harmony between the citizens and law enforcement agencies. Government human rights awareness, protest management guidelines, human rights education for the Ghana Police Service, legal process in protests, building trust and rapport, and then also balancing rights and restrictions. These are the recommendations that the Commission for Human Rights and Judicial Justice is making. So when you talk about protecting and the management guidelines, this is it. And these are what we're talking about. Take a look. And we'll hear from the Commissioner, Joseph Vital, in a bit on what exactly they expect the Ghana Police Service, especially, to be mindful of in going about its management of protests, which incorporates human rights standards for the use of by-law enforcement officials, particularly the Ghana Police Service. They're talking about refresher courses on human rights laws and other relevant UN and EU standards governing the operations of law enforcement agencies. This is Joseph Vital speaking earlier to my colleague, Grace Amwajiman.
In a democracy, rule of law should be the basis for determining how the police and the citizens relate. There is a need for rapport between they and the citizens who are demonstrating. It is a right of the people. So if they are on the street, don't approach them from the attitude of the colonial mentality. If you don't do what we want, we will beat you. No, that is completely out of the way. That's what happened. You have to build the rapport, and they will know that if you said you wouldn't let them go to the Jubilee House because it is a security area, make them know that that is it. But don't, and of course you can barricade that place, but don't go to the extent of saying, if you attempt to march towards that direction, we will beat you. And as a result, you will arrest them and lock them up. No, that's not the case. The security agencies get to know that the power to protect the citizens has been given by the citizens. Communicating with them on matters of even national security, that is possible. There's nothing wrong with it. But for the Minister of Interior, the Minister of Defense, we have not heard of them. Minister for National Security, we have not heard. In respect of what has gone on, it's a bit unfortunate. In fact, IGP has spoken. We have heard him speak with the leadership of the protesters. We appreciate that. But sometimes, when the matter is of national interest, it will be good for the leaders, ministers of state, to at least make themselves available to the people to explain or to even apologize if their agencies have gone a bit too far.
As Commissioner for CHRAJ, Joseph Vital, there, Martin Kpebu is a private legal practitioner. Is one of the foremost human rights lawyers that we have in this country. He's joining us. Martin Kpebu, thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. So this is the argument that Joseph Vital is making, that it appears now that the police, instead of just being notified as the law stipulates, wants to have some sort of a negotiation with protesters, or and reach some kind of consensus even before they allow or give them the leeway to demonstrate, or else they even go to court to seek injunctions. What is the true and proper interpretation of the law on this matter?
Okay, so yeah, I side with the Commissioner Vital. What the law says, we are talking about Public Order Act 491. Section 1 has the provisions for how to go about this. You see, what the law says is that maybe we should just go straight to the point. We are looking at the subsection 4 of Section 1, the one that says that where the police apprehend that there will be violence, issues of public defense, public safety, you say, etc., then the police can ask the demonstrators to change the venue or the time. You say venue or time. So when you say venue, so the typical example is the Jubilee House thing, the way we've been clamoring to go past, at least come near Jubilee House 50 meters, or just pass, use the road like the way the vehicles use the road. So that is the place that sometimes practically may involve some amount of negotiation, sometimes practically, because it says that the police say if they fear. Now, we all know that the police have been abusing it. So where you see that they are about to abuse it, it's good to engage them to say, no. Listen, we come in 50 meters to Jubilee House, doesn't hurt anything. We don't have arms, etc. So, but where Commissioner Weta is talking about is the way the police will just totally use security to scaremongering. The police are engaged in scaremongering. No, it's a security zone. Or the moment there's any other small public function, we don't have enough men. That's the abuse he's talking about. But between the abuse and the law, as I've said, there's section 1, subsection 4, you'll find that there's space for the parties to talk. There's a bit of space.
Great stuff. Lawyer, I appreciate your thoughts on this, and as always, straight to the point. I thank you so much for joining us. Lawyer Martin Bebo is private legal practitioner and the leader of one of 3 individual bondholder groups and the convener for the Kumi Preko Reloaded demonstration. On behalf of the rest of the team, I want to say thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Join us same time tomorrow. I am Alfred Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
This program is rated PG. It contains scenes of brief nudity, mild violence, and strong language. Parental guidance is advised.
Program is brought to you by
MTN DES Shower Gel.